My name is Lauren. I'm 31. I'm a mother of two. My son, Elijah, is 2 years old, and my daughter, Mia, is 1. But when this story started, Mia wasn't even a thought, and Elijah wasn't even conceived. I want to tell everything from beginning to end. Warning. This will be huge because I can't be brief, and my lawyer said I should remember every detail in case this situation repeats. Spoiler. It won't repeat because I will never let people like that near me again. Jared and I met in 2018. I worked as a paralegal at a small law firm, not a lawyer, just help with documents, and he was a mid-level manager at a company that sold medical equipment. We met at a bar on the corner of 7th Street. He ordered me a whiskey soda, I ordered a beer, and we laughed about the mismatch. 3 months later, he moved into my studio apartment. A year after that, he proposed in the same bar, with a ring he'd saved 6 months for. I said yes. The wedding was small, 45 guests in my aunt's garden. I wore a $300 dress from a clearance site. He wore a rented suit. We were poor but happy. Or so I thought. My best friend, Carly, was my maid of honor. We'd been friends since we were 14. We went to prom together, started college together, worked as waitresses together one summer. Carly knew all my secrets. I thought she was my sister. My mom adored her. My grandma called her granddaughter number 2. When Jared and I fought, Carly was always on my side. Or so I thought. The first 2 years of marriage were good. We rented a house in the suburbs for cheap because the landlord was a friend of Jared's from college. I switched jobs to a large insurance company. Now I was processing claims. Jared got a promotion. We got a dog, a golden retriever named Bailey. Everything looked like a cheap Netflix movie. In 2020, I got pregnant. It was planned. We both wanted kids. I pictured Jared teaching our child to swim, us picking names together, him rocking our daughter in his arms. At week 12, we found out it was a boy. Jared said, "Great, I'll buy him a little baseball bat." I laughed. Everything started to fall apart at week 21. I got second trimester toxemia, a rare crap where you get nauseous from everything, even water. I lost 5 kilos in 2 weeks. The doctor said, "Lauren, you need rest and no stress." That same evening, Jared said something I will remember forever. "You become a whiner." My mother had 3 kids and didn't whine. I didn't think much of it then. I figured he was tired from work. Now I understand. That was the first red flag. A big one, the size of a Soviet banner. Carly got worried. She came over every other day, bringing ginger cookies and fruit ice. We sat on the couch, and she rubbed my belly and said, "Lauren, you'll be the best mom. I'll be the best aunt. We've got this." She stayed over when Jared went on business trips. We watched old movies and ate salty pretzels. I was so grateful to her. Once, at week 27, I came home early. I'd had a routine blood pressure check, and the doctor said everything was fine, but I still felt a strange heaviness. Jared wasn't home, even though he said he'd be working from home. I called him. He answered after 6 rings. "I'm at the office, Lauren." "Something urgent?" I said, "No, just miss you." He hung up. An hour later, I noticed his laptop was still on the table. Jared never left his laptop. It was his second brain. I sat down and just turned it on. It wasn't password protected. That was his mistake. I wasn't deliberately looking for something bad. I wanted to see if he'd forgotten to order diapers on Amazon. But the first thing I saw was an open Facebook Messenger chat. From Carly. I read the following. "Carly, 11:14 p.m. Are you sure she doesn't know anything? I'm scared. Today she joked about a paternity test. Just joking, but what if? Jared, 11:16 p.m. Don't be stupid. How would she know? Just keep being the best friend. If she suspects anything, you say I flirted with you but nothing happened. She'll believe you. She believes everyone. Carly, 11:18 p.m. You promised you'd leave her after the baby is born. I don't want to be the forever mistress. Jared, 11:20 p.m. I will leave. But I need to be sure the kid is mine. The timing works, but I want a test. In 2 weeks, when she has the amniocentesis for her age, I'll ask the doctor for an extra analysis." I stared at the screen. The letters were jumping. The baby inside me was jumping too, like he felt my terror. I didn't cry. I took screenshots. I emailed them to myself. I closed the laptop, stood up, and left the house. I walked 4 blocks to the park, sat on a bench, and only then burst into tears. What was I thinking? A lot of things. That Carly had been sleeping with Jared way before my pregnancy. The tone of the messages made it clear this wasn't a one-time accident. That my baby might not be Jared's. No, that was impossible. There was no one else. So Jared was doubting his own paternity because he was cheating and projecting? Or he just wanted an excuse to leave. I sat in the park for 3 hours. When it got dark, I called my older sister, Nancy. Nancy lives in Boston, she's 8 years older, a trauma nurse. She never panics. I said, Nancy, Jared is cheating on me with Carly. She said, I knew he was trash, but Carly being trash too is brutal. What do you need? Me to come down and sort it out, or me to shut up and listen? I asked her to listen. I told her everything. She said, don't confront him now. You're pregnant. First give birth, then decide. But gather evidence. Every little thing. You work in insurance, you know that without paperwork you're nobody. I went home at 11 p.m. Jared was already there. He said, where were you? I was worried. I said, blood pressure was bad, went to the doctor. He didn't check. He didn't care. For the next 2 months, I lived a double life. By day, I was pregnant Lauren, happy, smiling, discussing names and nursery colors. By night, I was an investigator. I bought 2 voice recorders. Tiny, USB stick-sized. I put one in Jared's car under the driver's seat. The other in the living room, where he and Carly sometimes talked when I was in the shower or sleeping. I couldn't listen to all the recordings, it was too painful. But I listened. Every night, after Jared fell asleep, I put on headphones and listened to hours of conversation. The first 2 weeks, nothing interesting. Just him ordering pizza and cursing at his boss. But on day 12, I heard what I was looking for. Carly came over when I was supposedly asleep. They sat in the kitchen. I could hear everything through the living room recorder, but the audio was noisy, I had to clean it up. Carly, on the recording, quiet voice, Jared, we can't keep doing this. I see how much she's suffering from the toxemia. I feel like crap. Jared, you don't feel like crap. You like it. You like that she doesn't know and you do. Otherwise you wouldn't come here every day. You wouldn't bring her ginger cookies with the same hand that, well, you know. Carly, a stifled laugh, you're a terrible person. Jared, we're both terrible. But she'll give birth soon, and I'll sort it out. Just hold on another month. Then kissing sounds, then the couch creaking. I turned off the recording. I couldn't listen further. I sat in the dark, stroking my belly, and thought, how could I have loved these 2 people? At week 34, I hired a private investigator. His name was Victor, an older man, ex-cop with a Tom Selleck mustache. He cost $150 an hour, and in 3 weeks, he gathered enough material for a criminal case. Photos of Jared and Carly in the park, in the parking lot, at a motel 2 miles from our house. Receipts for the room paid with Jared's credit card. Cell phone video of them kissing by his car. Victor said, Mrs. Morrison, you have enough evidence for a divorce with aggravating circumstances. But I have to warn you, if you file for divorce now, so late in the pregnancy, the court might see it as stress on the child and deny you custody. Have the baby, then act. I listened. The hardest part was pretending. Every morning I looked Jared in the eyes and said, love you. Every morning he said the same. I don't know if he believed me. I don't think he cared. A man who cheats with your best friend doesn't care about other people's feelings. Elijah was born on March 17, St. Patrick's Day. Healthy, 8 pounds 6 ounces, with his mother's eyes and his father's hairline. Jared cried in the delivery room. I didn't cry. I looked at him and thought, are you crying from joy or guilt? And I didn't care. The first 6 weeks after birth, I was in a fog. Newborn, feeding every 2 hours, C-section stitches, hormones. Carly came over every day. She held my son, rocked him, sang to him. She looked at him with such adoration that my teeth clenched. I wanted to scream, get your hands off my baby. You slept with his father. But I stayed quiet. I waited. At week 8 postpartum, I went to a lawyer. Her name was Pamela Hayes, 55 years old, expensive suits, surgeon sharp manicure. She specialized in infidelity divorces. I brought her a folder of evidence. Screenshots, audio recordings, the PIs report, bank statements. Pamela flipped through it and said, Lauren, you can get almost everything. The house, alimony, full custody. But there's one problem. You worked part-time before leave, and now you don't work at all. The court might decide you can't support the child and leave him with the father during proceedings. You either need to find a job or prove that Jared is unfit as a father. How do I prove that? We need evidence of aggression or irresponsibility. Do you have anything besides the affair? He leaves the baby alone? Drinks? Uses drugs? No. Elijah is a toy to him. He loves him, but I handle all the night feedings alone. He says he's tired from work. That's not enough. I left Pamela's office upset. I didn't want my son staying with Jared even one night. I decided to dig deeper. While I was gathering info on Jared, I didn't forget about Carly. She worked in marketing at a large pharmaceutical company. Not a high position, but good pay. Carly loved her job. She often said, "If they take my job away, I'll die. It's the only thing I'm good at." I had her old messages complaining about her boss. But that wasn't enough. I needed something serious. One day, when Carly was watching Elijah so I could shower, I went through her purse. Not proud of it, but I was in war mode. Inside, I found a USB drive. I copied the contents while Carly was feeding the baby. On that drive were internal company documents, supply tables, distributor contracts, even passwords to her work account. Carly was an idiot for carrying that around. I didn't use it right away. I just saved a copy. A month later, at Thanksgiving dinner at Jared's parents' house. His father, Wallace, a former military man, never liked me. He thought I wasn't good enough for his son. But Jared's mother, Patricia, adored me. She gave me recipes, taught me to knit, called me sweetheart. Carly was at dinner too. She said her family was far away, so Jared invited her, as family. Patricia frowned but said nothing. After dessert, Carly and Jared went out to the balcony. I followed, pretending to get fresh air. They stood very close. I pretended to be on my phone but actually turned on my watch's voice recorder. Carly, quietly, Wallace asked why I'm not married. I almost told the truth. Jared. What truth? That you're sleeping with his married son? He'd kill me. Carly. You said you'd leave her as soon as the baby was born. That was 3 months ago. When? Jared. I can't right now. She's on leave, she's vulnerable. If I leave, everyone will think I abandoned a wife with a newborn. That'll kill my reputation at work. Carly. I don't care about your reputation. I've waited 2 years. 2 years. Jared. Hold on another 6 months. I'll transfer to another office, we'll buy a house, and everything will be fine. Carly. What about Elijah? Will you abandon him? Jared. I'll see him on weekends. Or not. A kid needs a mother, a father isn't that important. I stepped away from the door. My blood ran cold. He said, a father isn't that important. He was ready to abandon Elijah. Just because it was convenient. The next day, I called Pamela and said I had an audio recording where Jared said he didn't plan to be part of the child's life. Pamela said, that's gold. But it can't be used in court without the other party's consent. Our state requires 2-party consent for recordings. But we can use it for pressure in pre-trial negotiations. In January, when Elijah was 10 months old, I decided it was time. I sent an anonymous letter to the compliance department at Carly's pharmaceutical company. The letter included copies of the documents from her USB drive and a brief description of how she took confidential information outside the office. I wrote, an employee in your marketing department, Carly T., systematically copies internal documents to personal storage devices. This violates company security policy. I recommend inspecting her workstation. 2 weeks later, Carly called me in tears. She said, Lauren, I got fired. They accused me of a data security breach. It must be a mistake. I never took documents out. I said, oh my God, Carly, that's terrible. Maybe it has to do with that USB drive you lost a couple of months ago? You searched everywhere for it. Maybe someone found it and set you up? She went quiet, then said, you're right. Someone must have found my drive in the park. Damn it, damn it, damn it. She didn't know I had the drive. She didn't know I copied it. She didn't know I destroyed her career. Did I feel awful? Yes. But then I remembered her kissing Jared in the parking lot, and the guilt faded. Carly couldn't find another job. Pharma is a small world, and a reputation for data leaks follows you. She scraped by with random gigs, working at a coffee shop, delivering food in her old Honda. Jared, of course, didn't help her. He told her, that's your problem. You shouldn't have carried documents without protection. They started fighting. I knew because I still occasionally listened to the recorder in Jared's car. He'd forgotten it, and I didn't take it out. Next was Jared. His medical equipment company depended on hospital contracts. I knew Jared sometimes forged signatures on service reports. They were supposed to check equipment once a month, but sometimes they skipped it, and Jared signed for the clients. I had copies of 5 of those reports. I found them in his briefcase when he left it in the living room. I took photos with my phone. In February, I sent an anonymous letter to 3 addresses: the CEO of Jared's company, the ethics department, and the largest client, St. Jude's City Hospital. The letter said, "Please review the service reports signed by Dr. Martinez, St. Jude's Hospital, for June, August, and September of last year." Dr. Martinez was on vacation during those months. The signatures are forged. The initiator of the forgery is team lead Jared Morrison. Evidence attached. I attached copies of the forged reports and a public Facebook post from Dr. Martinez where he wrote about his vacation in Hawaii. The reaction was fast. Within 5 days, Jared was suspended. Within 10, fired without a recommendation. St. Jude's terminated the contract with the company, costing them $1.2 million per year. The company sued Jared for reputational damage. When Jared came home with the news, he looked like he'd been hit by a truck. He sat on the couch and stared into space. "Lauren, I got fired. I don't know what to do." "Oh, honey, that's terrible." "Why?" "Someone ratted me out about those stupid signatures." "But it's routine, everyone does it." "Who did I bother? Maybe you should think about finding a job in another field?" "Another field? Lauren, we have a mortgage, a car loan, you don't work." "How will we live? We have a child." "Jared, relax. We have savings. I'll go back to work as soon as Elijah turns 1. Until then, you can stay home with him, and I'll work." "Me? Stay home with a kid? Have you lost your mind? I'm a man, a provider." "Well, a provider without a job is just a guy sitting at home." "I'm going to the store for groceries." I left. I didn't want to look at his face. But I smiled as I walked down the street. In April, I filed for divorce. Jared received the summons at work. He'd found a temp job at an Amazon warehouse. The only place that would hire him with his reputation. He came home furious. "You filed for divorce? Are you crazy? We have a child, we have debts, I'm jobless." "Jared, sit down. Don't tell me what to do." I said sit down, or I'll pull out the folder, and you'll sit down on your own because your legs won't hold you. He sat. I put the folder on the table. All the evidence. Everything, from the motel photos to the audio of him saying a father isn't important. Jared went pale. He picked up photos one by one, his hands shaking. "Where did you get this?" "Honey, I work in insurance. I know how to gather evidence. Plus I hired a private investigator. With your money, by the way. You paid the credit card he billed. You spied on me? I was protecting my marriage. But as you can see, it didn't work. Because you were screwing my best friend. It was a mistake. A mistake is buying the wrong coffee creamer. Screwing someone for 2 years is a lifestyle. What do you want?" "I want the house. I want full custody of Elijah. I want child support and spousal support until Elijah starts school. I want you to pay for my lawyer. And I want Carly to never come near my son again." "You won't get that. The court isn't on your side." "I will get it, because I have an audio recording of you saying a father isn't important. And a recording of you and Carly discussing a paternity test. And a video of you screwing in the backseat of your car. Want me to put it on YouTube? Your father thinks I'm not good enough for his son. Let him see how good his son really is." Jared cried. For the first time, he dropped his head on the table and sobbed. I looked at him without pity. I remembered the nights I cried into my pillow while he slept next to me after meeting Carly. I remembered sitting alone in the park at 34 weeks. I remembered him calling me a whiner. Something died in me at that moment. And something was born, not just Elijah, but a new me, one who would never let anyone humiliate her again. The divorce took 4 months. Jared hired a lawyer, but when the lawyer saw the evidence, he told Jared, "My advice is to agree to all of Lauren's terms. If this goes to trial, you'll get nothing but a payment order." The judge in this district is known for how she treats infidelity. Jared agreed. I got the house, my old Toyota. He kept his new Honda but had to pay me half its value, child support equal to 40% of his income, from whatever he earned, and spousal support for 18 months. The judge asked Jared, "Do you have any objections?" He said, "No, Your Honor." I could see how much he hated me at that moment. But I didn't care. After the divorce, I breathed freely. I went back to work. My old job at the insurance company took me back full-time. My boss knew the whole story and said, "Lauren, you're a fighter. We need people like you." Elijah started daycare. We lived peacefully. But the story wasn't over. 8 months after the divorce, in December, I got a Facebook message from someone I didn't expect. Ashley, the wife of Jared's best friend, Derek. Ashley wrote, "Hi, I know we don't talk, but I have information you need. Carly is pregnant, and she says the baby is Jared's. Want to meet?" I agreed. We met at a coffee shop. Ashley was a sweet girl, very quiet, with huge eyes. She told me that Carly had moved into Jared's apartment. He was renting a studio in a bad neighborhood. Carly was working as a waitress, drinking beer every night, and complaining to everyone that Lauren had ruined her life and stolen her love. Jared wasn't working at all, just odd jobs. And now Carly was 12 weeks along. "Are you sure the baby isn't someone else's?" I asked. Carly said there's been no one else but Jared. She worships him, but he hits her. Derek saw bruises on her arms. Hits her? Jared? Yeah, not hard, but he hits her. Says she ruined his marriage, even though he was all for it. Ashley, why are you telling me this? Jared and I are divorced. It's none of my business. It is your business, because you have a son. And if Jared hits a woman, he could hit a child. You need to know. I thanked Ashley. At home, I called my lawyer, Pamela, and said, we need to go back to court. Jared has a pregnant mistress, he's beating her, and I want his rights to Elijah restricted even more. Pamela said, it's hard. Courts don't like to take away parental rights without a criminal conviction. But if you can get evidence of the abuse, we can initiate a custody review. I thought it over and called Carly. Yes, I called the woman who slept with my ex-husband. And said, hi, I know you're pregnant, I know he's hitting you. If you give testimony, I'll help you find a shelter and a lawyer. Carly was silent for a minute, then said, are you kidding me? You ruined my life. You wrote to my company. I know it was you. You can't prove that, I said. But that's not the point. Right now, you're carrying a baby and he's hitting you. In a year, he'll hit the baby too. Do you want your son or daughter to go through what I did? If not, meet me tomorrow at the cafe. She came, bruised, black eye, split lip. She told me Jared had lost control after she lost her job. He blamed her for everything. He said she seduced him, that she ruined his career with her whining. He checked her phone, didn't let her leave the house without asking, and once hit her so hard her nose bled. Lauren, I know you hate me. And you're right, but I'm scared for the baby. If I stay, he'll hit the baby too. If I leave, he'll find me and kill me. What do? You go to a crisis center. I'll help. Then we file a police report. Do you have photos of the bruises? No. He took my phone. Tomorrow night, when he's asleep, you'll take photos with an old phone of mine. I'll give it to you. Then I'll call the police. We did it. Carly secretly photographed her bruises, sent them to me, and in the morning the police showed up at Jared's apartment. He was arrested for domestic violence. Carly gave a statement. She was placed in a shelter. At Elijah's custody hearing, I presented Jared's arrest record. The same female judge who handled our divorce said, Mr. Morrison, you have been arrested for violence. This is serious. Your rights to your son are limited until the criminal case is resolved. You may see Elijah only in the presence of a social worker once a month, for no more than 2 hours. Jared tried to appeal. It didn't work. Today Elijah is 2 years old. He walks, says, Mama, and, gimme. He doesn't ask about his dad. I don't say anything bad about Jared to him. When he grows up, he'll find out on his own, or maybe not. But right now, he's a happy child. Carly gave birth to a girl, Emma. She's in a shelter for single mothers, working half-time at a laundromat. I sometimes send her baby clothes that Elijah has outgrown. She sends me long texts full of thanks and apologies. I read them and delete them. I haven't forgiven her, but I've stopped being angry. Jared served 4 months in county jail for the violence. He got out in March. No one was waiting for him. Carly filed for child support for Emma. He now has to pay 2 women and support 2 children. His only job offer was a warehouse loader. He lives in a trailer with his father, who, by the way, calls me every Sunday to ask how his grandson is doing. Wallace, Jared's father, died of a heart attack when he heard about the arrest. Patricia, Jared's mother, talks to me more often than she talks to Jared. And me? I'm seeing a guy named Nate. He's a veterinarian. He has a dog and a house. Nate knows my whole story. I told him on our third date. He said, "Lauren, you went through hell. But you didn't become a demon. You became a warrior. I want to be with you and Elijah. We've lived together for 6 months. We're planning a beach trip this summer." One day, coming back from the grocery store, I saw Jared. He was standing at a bus stop, thin and shaven, with a bag of cheap beer. He looked at me, opened his mouth, but I walked past. I put my hand on Elijah's shoulder as he sat in the cart, and I smiled. Jared called out, "Lauren, wait. Please." I stopped, turned, and said, "What do you want?" "I lost everything because of you." "You lost everything because of yourself, Jared. I just collected the evidence. You destroyed my life. And Carly's. And our daughter's. Carly destroyed her own life when she decided sleeping with her best friend's husband was okay. And your daughter is your responsibility. Don't shift that. I love you. I've always loved only you. You don't know what love is. Go home, Jared, and don't come near me or my son." I turned and walked away. Elijah waved at Jared, just because he waves at everyone. Jared didn't wave back. He stood there like a statue. That's the story. If you made it to the end, thank you. I wrote this over 3 nights while Elijah slept. If you have questions, ask. I'll try to answer. The main thing I learned: don't feel sorry for the people who betrayed you. Feel sorry for yourself. And act. But act smart. Don't lash out. Gather facts, wait for your moment, strike. Then you'll win, even if you're alone in this world. Thank you, Reddit. Goodbye. Update. Some people ask if I regret what I did to Carly. No, I regret not doing it sooner. And yes, I know I'm vengeful. But you know what? Sometimes being vengeful is the only way to survive. Thanks for understanding. Update 2. Nate read this post and said I was too harsh. Then he added, "But you're right. I would have done the same. We're getting married in 2 months. I'm happy. And that's the best revenge."